It's Friday, Friday, gotta get down on Friday with some hot news, hot news. Fun fact, we have a tradition here at the UFD Tech office of blaring that song and dancing awkwardly to it every single week. Fun, 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 fun. You could say that we're looking forward to the weekend. Terrible jokes aside, besides the weekly ritual thing, we actually do that. It's time to flip-flop on over to today's hot news. So first up, iPhone's new security feature gets hacked. So Apple instituted a new security feature on iPhones recently with iOS 12 called USB restricted mode. Essentially, if you haven't unlocked your iPhone in the last hour, the Lightning port becomes useless for anything except charging. This seems like a pretty helpful security feature that could prevent organizations that are both illegal and governmental from jacking into your private phone data without your permission. This was especially concerning to folks who use GrayKey, an iPhone jacking tool by Grayshift to access iPhones. It's a little box where you plug in two iPhones and then it unlocks it somehow. Magic, I'm sure. So that's either local law enforcement on the federal, state, and municipal levels, and apparently up to the FBI and DEA were using this GrayKey device. The USB restricted mode would have stopped tools like GrayKey from even working because it would lock down the Lightning port that's necessary to brute force password combinations. Although there's no proof from Grayshift themselves about their ability to hack through the new restricted mode, apparently Grayshift seems, quote, confident in their staying power for right now, end quote, and that they have already defeated this security feature in the beta build. So I'm actually curious what you all think of this. Are you happy with Apple trying to implement features to restrict unauthorized access to your phone? What do you think of the government getting into phones with technology like GrayKey? Do you want your local police department having something like this? Whether that's for criminals or whether or not you get arrested for something. Let me know. Let's chat about that down in the comments. And then we have reports that the OnePlus 6 has sold over 1 million copies in less than 1 month. Actually, 22 days to be specific. So obviously 1 million is a paltry number compared to the iPhone's tens of millions of sales, and then also the juggernaut that is Samsung. But for a relatively inexpensive Android alternative, I'm definitely happy to see another company gain so much success in smartphone market share. And in case you're using your phone for this at all, Instagram will stop notifying people if you take a screenshot of their stories. So the company confirmed to BuzzFeed that the initial test of notifying if you were saving their stories is over. So no one's gonna get notified and you can lurk in peace, I guess. And then in more news that very few people will care about, there's leaks of a multi-GPU Radeon Pro V340. So the reason that I bring this up is because there's some outlets reporting that this is the first iteration of a Vega 7nm GPU, since the graphics card uses 32 gigabytes of HBM2 memory, which is impossible on normal Vega configurations. But AMD has confirmed that it's just two normal Vega GPUs stuck together, thereby having doubled the memory amount. Anyone who's pitching this as a Vega 7nm hasn't found the latest response from AMD. And then getting to the news that seriously the fewest people will actually care about, the Division 1 is officially dead. So I don't mean this in the servers are going offline and no one's playing this game anymore. That happened months ago. I mean this in the final patch for the Division is live on Xbox, PC, and PS4. They're not going to be updating the game anymore because the Division 2 drops in March. And now let's get into our only rumor for today in the new segment of Rumor Corner. Video Cards has apparently confirmed with folks over at ASUS that the new Z390 based Maximus boards will be the Maximus 11 range instead of the current X editions, which would mean that ASUS is treating this as a brand new segment instead of a continuation of the current Coffee Lake motherboards. What that practically means is nothing, and why it matters is also unclear, but that's what you get in today's Rumor Corner. So then apparently Chicago's Boring project will start in 3 to 4 months. It was recently announced that the city of Chicago and Elon Musk's Boring company would be embarking on a major transportation endeavor to connect the Chicago O'Hare Airport to the Chicago Business District through the use of underground tunnels. Using pods that can arrive as frequently as every 30 seconds, they'll travel at 150 miles per hour underground to get folk to the center in just 12 minutes instead of the usual 40. The Boeing company is expected to pay for the $1 billion project themselves with no burden on the Chicago taxpayer, and it looks like they could begin construction on it before the end of the year. No word on what happens if the pod breaks down halfway through the trip and all the lights turn off and everyone starts freaking out due to the large amounts of claustrophobia. I'm pretty sure that Tank would try to destroy the pod to get out of that situation. Yeah, I'm getting a big note from him. And then in more future transportation news, we have the finalists for Boeing's personal flying device contest. So Boeing put $2 million on the line for engineers to come up with personal flying vehicles. There are 10 finalist teams for the concept portion of the competition, and now they'll need to build a fully functional version of the flying contraptions. I'll leave the link in the description for you to check them out yourselves. I'm personally just curious what happens when a person accidentally sticks a foot or a hand into one of the turbines. Yikes, they look like flying death traps. And then the folks over at Tech Insights have gotten the first look at Intel's 10nm Cannon Lake CPUs. So they broke open one of Lenovo's notebooks that has the 10nm processor inside. Practically, how this differs from Intel's 14nm offerings is that it's 11% smaller, and then also can include AVX 512 instruction set and 70% more execution units of the integrated GT2 graphics, so you can get faster integrated graphics with this thing. That's basically it, not a revelation. And then the last news segment that I want to cover is the controversy surrounding TechTubers not disclosing Computex sponsorships. So in a Twitter post that made the rounds, several of the major tech YouTube channels were accused of getting paid to cover companies' booths at Computex last week. I'm not going to give airtime to the person who originally posted the tweet because it stands as a completely baseless accusation that they've already admitted was an error of posting and was completely fabricated. I don't have too much to add to the conversation on my side besides what has already been said by those who were directly singled out in the tweet. I'll leave links in the description so you can check out most of the major responses by Jay's 2 cents, Bitwit, Paul, even Linus on his forums, but I just wanted to bring this up in case you've heard rumors to the contrary. Computex sponsors were clearly disclosed by these people, and the other booths that were covered during the expo were because the companies had cool stuff, not because anyone was being paid to check them out and then to not also talk about the fact that they were being paid. It's just not how we do business here. And also, I'm slightly salty that I'm not important enough to have made that list. That's sarcasm, in case you're wondering, because I don't want to have defamation against me taking money that's undisclosed. This is some good Nescafe. And that's where I'm going to end today's episode of Hot News. Let me know what you thought about any and all of the stories in the comments so that we can build a discussion around them down below. Let's chat. Also, just a reminder that we have UFD deals. Similar to Hot News, we bring you hot deals from around the internet to satisfy your tech upgrading disorder as cheaply as possible. It would mean a lot if you all checked it out because we get a small kickback from whatever you purchase through those links, and it helps keep things like Hot News going around here. There you go. I disclosed. You guys help us make money if you use UFD deals, and I would really appreciate it. Anyways, thanks for watching. Thanks for checking out UFD deals, and for hitting that like button, and for being subscribed, and for telling me I'm beautiful. I really appreciate every single one of you. I'm Brett with the UFD Tech Channel. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see your smiling faces again later. Cheers. Hot News!